Hi, I am so excited to share this episode with you. I can't believe where I'm standing right now. I'm in the Liberdade Square in Porto, Portugal. We got here last night and we got to watch the soccer game with a bunch of fans in the streets. That was fantastic. Congratulations to Portugal. Good luck on your next match. As for now, we're gonna go try some wine in the Douro River. Actually, not in the Douro River, in the Douro Valley, but we're gonna ride on a boat in the Douro River, and we're gonna try some Albarino and some port wine. I'm super excited. Let's go see what they're pouring for us today. Porto, Portugal is the second largest urban area in Portugal. It is sometimes referred to as O Porto. This is truly the heart of Portugal. In fact, the Latin name for the city is Portus Cayo, and is the namesake of Portugal. Porto is one of the oldest cities in Europe and is designated as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. One of the most famous landmarks in Porto is the Dom Luís I Bridge. The bridge is a double-deck metal arch bridge that connects Porto to Via Nova de Gaia. The bridge was designed by Gustave Eiffel, the same Eiffel that designed the Eiffel Tower in Paris. This isn't the only famous bridge in Portugal. There is actually a bridge in Lisbon, the 25-day Abril Bridge, that is referred to as the Little Golden Gate Bridge of Portugal, and was inspired by the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. This bridge is even painted with the same international orange color. But let's get back to Porto and the Dom Luís I Bridge. The Dom Luís I Bridge spans over the Douro River. The Douro River is an important area for a few reasons. In regards to geography, for about 112 kilometers of its length, it forms the border between Portugal and Spain, and is the third largest river on the Iberian Peninsula. There are great ways to travel the Douro River, like the scenic Douro train line or various river cruises. The Douro River has a long history of winemaking. The wine terraces in the area have been designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, as the largest site with this designation in the world. The terraces on which the grapes are grown date back hundreds, if not thousands, of years. The Douro Valley is home to the Porto DOP, a designated area that is famous for port wines. Porto is the only region in the world that is allowed to produce the wine with a label of port wine. The region is also famous for green wine, or Vinho Verde, which is crisp wine made primarily with Albarino. This is one of the areas where the river being the border between Portugal and Spain is most evident, as the grape is called Alvarinho in Portugal, but is called Albarino with a B in Spain. Port is a very interesting wine, and not just because it's a fortified wine. The wine producers are only allowed to make port with grapes that have been acknowledged as being native to Portugal. Usually the port blend created by the winemaker will include over 20 grape varieties. There are 30 recommended grape varieties, with 82 varieties that are allowed in the region. Vieira de Sousa is a small quinta in the Douro Valley. Quinta is a Portuguese word referring to estate. Port wine is the main focus of the operations at Vieira de Sousa, and they have been making wine at this quinta for 5 generations. All the wines are produced from the grapes grown on the 60 hectares the family owns. A hectare is approximately 2.5 acres, meaning that Vieira de Sousa has about 150 acres under vine. Vieira de Sousa specializes in a white port, a tawny port, a vintage port, and a ruby port. White port is made from white grapes. A tawny port is blended from various seasons and is a non-vintage version of port, while vintage port all comes from one season and is only designated as a vintage year by the DOP itself. Ruby port is a young port wine, usually 2 to 3 years old.
So yeah, you end up having white port, ruby port, tawny port, and then what we would normally call pink port, but that's basically rosé port. Pink port is a marketing strategy because they wanted to basically get younger people to get into port, basically. But yeah, white ports and pink ports nowadays are actually consumed mostly as an aperitif, actually, than a dessert one, due to being nice to basically have it as a cocktail with tonic water. I don't know if you already had a port tonic before. No.
I saw it on the menu last night. I just had a 10-year tonic, but I didn't know what it was with the tonic. I'm sorry.
I think that's better. But yeah, inside of each category of whites, ruby, tawnies, and import, you end up having different styles as well. So for the white port, you have general white port. You have 10-year-old, 20, 30, 40-year-old, and then eventually in the rubies, that's when it gets a little bit complicated. So you have Culeta, vintage, LBV, that's basically late bottled vintage, and then you have the Reserva ruby port. And inside of the tawnies, you have Culeta tawny, you have Reserva tawny, and then you have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50-year-olds now as well. So yeah, we're gonna have basically 3 ports. You should start with the white first. It's a little bit more drinkable due to the acidity that it has. It's a little bit more of a fresher fruit still in the nose, kind of an apple, a baked apple more or less here in the nose, some dried fruits as well. And yeah, in the mouthfeel it's a little bit more easy drinking than the tawny would be, because the tawny ends up, as I mentioned before, aging a lot of time in the barrels, and due to the porosity of the barrel there's always some evaporation of alcohol, and due to that you have a higher concentration of sugar left in the wine, so it ends up being a little bit more syrupy. But the tawnies have a lot more kind of the caramel character than actually the fruity side of a wine. Our tawnies normally are a little bit fresher, so you end up having to blend with all the tawnies to get towards this character of a 10-year-old tawny port.
So could a 10-year be anywhere from 10 closer to 20?
Here, coming through, is that alright?
That sounds great.
Tawny port is beautiful.
That's nice.
The white for me is a little powerful.
Yeah.
I was thinking, being in Porto, that I would finally have a white that I like, maybe, and it confirms that I don't like them.
You don't like the white port?
That's yummy.
Now tasting the ruby.
The ruby, what's the average age on this one?
So what's
So this is-
how many years is this ruby you gave us?
So this is 3 years.
So if it goes beyond 10, obviously much richer, is it?
Yeah. But this, because it's so young, you have this power of fruit coming out.
Probably.
A lot more
I've never had one. I've
fruity
seen them before.
aromas than actually the previous one.
Guess I was
And
wrong.
this is actually port that's then a reserva. You two have been aged a little bit in barrels. So I spent 2 years in stainless steel, and then eventually another year in the barrel, and then basically was bottled like that.
Well, hello. I am here at Vieira de Sousa, trying some ports in Portugal. Can you believe that? In the Douro Valley. It's a beautiful place. Hope you get here someday. I can't believe I'm here. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a warm day, and I don't usually drink port on a warm day, but that's what we're here for. So I'm going to start off right here with this ruby. It absolutely blew my mind. I have not really liked rubies in the States. I have a feeling it's probably because of the quality of what makes it to the US. This right here, fresh fruits, nice herbs, spices, just a great red ruby. Comes up almost refreshing, but still just a hint of that little syrupy sweetness. You could almost put this as a dry wine, but not quite. Pretty special. Never had anything like it. Over here I've got the Tawny 10-year, which is usually one of my favorites. A lot more brown, a lot more aged. This is a small vineyard here, and so, but they have about 20 different grapes that go into this glass right here. This is typically aged about 10 years, plus or minus. It's actually a blend of different years. And this, you start to get the prunes, the raisins, the grapes. It's you can smell that age. It kind of just gets dried out. It just smells aged. And then you drink it and you get caramels, you get cherries. It's just a beautiful, beautiful tawny. Pretty special event. Probably gonna try and figure out how to buy a bottle of this and get it home. So we're here on the Douro River, drinking white wine out of a wood-free teacup. Pretty fantastic. They wouldn't let me take a class on the boat, but anyway, it's Vieira de Sousa, I believe. Anyway, I might have got that wrong, but anyway, it's white wine made from grapes of Vieira. So I just got the bottle. So we're drinking that. And it's a Bronca, it's white. They call it Elise. I would actually call it Alice in the US. Pretty funny. But anyway, it's crisp, clean, high acid wine. That's fantastic. Great for a hot day on the Douro. Very refreshing. The proverbial patio. Quinta de Cume is located in the historical town of Provenzende on the right bank of the Douro River. For those of you that aren't avid river travelers, the side of the riverbank is determined when you are traveling with the flow of the river. So the right bank of the river is on your right side when traveling downstream and facing downstream. This quinta was established by Jorge Tenrero, who was a surgeon by profession and fell in love with the terroir and wines of the Douro region and set out to establish his own vineyard. He selected his site primarily due to the schist soil and the elevation, which is about 600 meters or approximately 1,800 feet. Jorge hired Jean Hugues Gros to be his winemaker, and they implemented a very thoughtful winemaking process with the most up-to-date technology. The motto of Quinta de Cume is to produce wines with a passion. Quinta de Cume makes a variety of wines. The Flor de Cume is a blend of red grapes and is a table red wine. The winemaker produces a wine with an exclusive selection of grapes called Red Wine Selection. Lastly, Quinta de Cume makes a Reserva red wine made mostly with Tempranillo and a white wine Reserva made mostly from Malvasia. So this behind me right here is the lagares. This is where they smash the grapes with their feet, actually, like you see in all the old-timey movies. Pretty cool.
So, my name is Henri. Welcome to Quinta de Cume. I'll be your guide today. The wine tasting we are located outside.
Go again. I had it. You had this one.
That's at the same time.
Here we have our Creator White, okay? Our simple white for your day by day. Very easy to drink, very soft, very fresh. We have two grapes, the Revigato and Viuzinho. The fermentation and the storage of this white is only instant and still. Don't contain any yolk, because yolk will give complexity. And in this case, we don't want any complexity. We just want a simple white.
That's a big what's the more technical word for like system?
Tears.
Well, it's not very technical, but it's very descriptive. Limbs.
Limbs. It's a sign of alcohol and sugar level.
Yeah.
So just finished our tasting at Quinta de Cume, very small venue out here in the Douro. It's fantastic. I've got the Touriga Nacional, which is actually a blend. It's a table wine with Touriga Nacional, which is the most popular grape in Douro, and it's also got Touriga Franc. It's a beautiful red wine, full of red fruit, currant, a little bit of black fruit, a little bit of blackberry, and just a slight smidge of French oak. It's fantastic. Delicious. They actually say they call this the couch wine. I can see why. It's kind of when you want to come home from a busy day at work, crack open a bottle and just have a glass and kick off your shoes. This would be it. So I hope you get by someday. Enjoy.
Thank you very much for coming, and we hope you have a wonderful evening. Enjoy. Thank you.
Just finished our wine tastings on the Douro River. It was absolutely incredible experience. Never did I imagine that I would be here and get to partake in something like this. Really a joyous occasion. I hope you get by sometime. I want to thank everybody at Vieira de Sousa. The tawny ports there are incredible. They take a lot of care in making those wines. I evidently like a ruby port. Didn't know that before this trip. Also want to thank Quinta de Cume. Their red wine, or as they like to call it, the couch wine, was really nice and a great table wine. I'm going to say so long from now from Porto in Portugal. Until the next time, you can find me on Instagram at cowboy_somm or follow all my reviews and notes on the Vine Gypsy app. I'm the CowboySomm. I'm going to say so long for now, and I hope to see you somewhere on the wine trail.
Olha a